Here's what I want to stress in all of this mess. The costs are staggering. Loss of life, we know. Illness, we know. Here's another economic cost you may not have thought about. It is known that getting this disease can and likely will have long-term effects on many parts of the human body for decades to come. The cost to our Medicare and Medicaid systems is incalculable, except we know it's huge, and it will last a long time. Choosing not to lock down, which we did as a society, and choosing instead to put our eggs in the basket of vaccine cost us an enormous amount of money, and therefore demands for an economist like me to give an explanation. What happened here? Why was this choice made? Here's the blunt answer. Lockdowns are not good for business, especially if you have a lockdown and you decide as a decent society to maintain the incomes of all the people who can't go to work when you really lock down. So the business community is terrified. It's not going to make money because that's what a lockdown means. Production doesn't occur, but it is going to be taxed, that's its fear, to sustain the incomes of the workers who aren't working. They're not producing profit, which is what they do when they work, but they're still costing you a wage, either that you have to pay or the taxes you pay for the government to cover their wage. Therefore, lockdowns are what businesses don't want. Vaccines are much better. Your workers keep working, people can keep shopping, you convince them, hopefully without lying, that it's safe, and you don't suffer the risks to your profits, the risks of higher taxes in the form that you might face if there were lockdowns. That has to be understood as absolutely fundamental. Then, as I'll say in a few minutes more in detail, the vaccine producers, of course, stand to make a fortune. And as I'll show you, that's exactly what they're now doing, is making a fortune. So you have them pushing for vaccine, they don't make money out of a lockdown, and you have the rest of the business community clearly preferring the reliance over time on a vaccine to the immediate costs in profits and tax increases from a lockdown. And then we have the more general problem, which I call advertising. And I want to hammer at this with you if you allow me. A capitalist has to sell the output of whatever his or her company produces. They have to go out there and get people to buy it. All the rest of what they do is nice, but if they can't sell the final product, it all turns to a disaster. So it's understandable that they will go to extraordinary lengths to persuade you to behave in such a way as generates profits, that is, buy what they sell, rather than do something else with your money. We've set this economy up to do that. So we don't just get bombarded telling us buy this soap, drink this drink, buy that food, wear these clothes. But we are also confronted with a capitalist healthcare system which says solve your medical problems this way because it's profitable, not that way, which isn't. That's not because they're mean or nasty people. It's because that's the way the system works. They're rewarded when the company makes profits, and they're punished when it doesn't. There's a very dangerous way to set up your medical system. And that's what we're learning now, because we're seeing lockdowns, which could have and should have been the preventive priority, having been shortchanged in favor of something else that's profitable. That's not the way to handle your health problems. It's one thing to understand that scientists can honestly disagree. That's a reality. We have to face that. But adding into the scientific disagreement the relentless pressure of highly rich corporations using lots of money to intervene in the conversation with arguments that are designed to make profit for them, not to make scientific argument. Wow. That's a self destructive behavior of a society.